What is the greatest war a man can fight? It is not against an enemy nation. It is not against the storms of fortune or the betrayals of fate. The greatest war is the battle within, the endless struggle against desire, distraction, and delusion. Gautam Buddha once sat under the Bodhi tree, not with armies, not with riches, not with weapons, but with a single unshakable vow: to conquer the mind. That night, as temptation raged around him, as fear whispered in his ear, he faced the most ruthless adversary known to man, the self. And when dawn broke, he emerged victorious, not as a king, not as a conqueror of lands, but as a conqueror of thought, a master of clarity, a warrior of stillness. But do not mistake stillness for weakness. Do not mistake silence for surrender. To silence the noise of craving is to hold the sharpest sword of all, the sword of awareness. For what can enslave a man who desires nothing? What can corrupt a mind that sees reality with unclouded eyes? Look around you. Today's world worships speed, noise, and hunger. Advertisements whisper, want more. Screens scream, chase faster. Society applauds the restless, the sleepless, the forever hungry. But the man enslaved by desire is not free. He runs endlessly, like a thirsty traveler drinking salt water, each gulp only deepening his thirst. Buddha's wisdom cuts through this chaos like lightning splitting the night sky. He did not preach withdrawal from life, he preached freedom from chains. And the heaviest chain is desire, the endless craving for what you do not yet have, and the endless fear of losing what you cling to. Think of Thomas Edison, who in the darkness of failure saw light not yet born. Thousands of experiments collapsed, yet he stood unwavering. Was he driven by shallow desire for applause? No. He was consumed by clarity, by vision, by the inner fire that burns not for approval, but for truth. This is Buddha's weapon at work, the power to endure, not because you crave reward, but because you are anchored in clarity. Desire blinds, clarity illuminates. Desire shouts, clarity whispers. Desire burns out, clarity endures. Abraham Lincoln stood battered by defeats, rejected in elections, ridiculed by rivals. Yet his vision for a united nation pulled him through despair. His enemies crumbled under pressure, but Lincoln's mind was a fortress, not because he clung to desire, but because he had clarity of purpose. He knew the war was greater than himself. That is Buddha's mind weapon forged in history's fire. Elon Musk, in our modern age, dares what others fear. Rockets explode, fortunes rise and fall, yet his resolve does not shatter. His clarity, a vision of humankind among the stars, anchors him beyond the reach of critics, beyond the sway of comfort. This is not reckless hunger. It is disciplined clarity, the still flame that does not flicker in the wind. And you, yes, you listening now, how many times have you been a slave to your desires? The craving for recognition, the hunger for validation, the need to be seen, to be applauded, to be accepted. And how many times has that hunger betrayed you, left you hollow, restless, exhausted? You chase shadows, while clarity waits in silence. But imagine, just for a moment, a life where clarity commands your every step, where you are no longer seduced by every distraction, where you do not crumble at failure because failure is simply another teacher. Imagine a mind as sharp as a blade, as calm as still water, as unshakable as a mountain. This is not fantasy. This is the Buddha's weapon, waiting to be forged inside you. Desire whispers like a mirage on the horizon. It promises water, but delivers only sand. You chase it, thinking the next achievement, the next possession, the next approval will quench your thirst. Yet the moment you grasp it, it dissolves. And so, you run again. Faster, harder, exhausted. This is the cycle humanity is trapped in, the endless treadmill of wanting more, yet never finding peace. Gautam Buddha stood in the heart of this storm, a prince who had tasted every luxury, every comfort, every indulgence life could offer, and yet he walked away. Why? Because he realized the kingdom of gold still couldn't silence the restlessness inside. That revelation was the turning point of his life, and it can be the turning point of yours. Desire, when it controls you, becomes a chain. It drags you where it pleases. You think you're steering your life, but in truth, it is desire driving the carriage, whipping the horses of your mind until you collapse. But here's the power Buddha revealed. The moment you master your desire, you become the driver. You hold the reins. You command the storm. History is filled with proof. Look at Abraham Lincoln, born into poverty, mocked, defeated in elections, yet he refused to bow to the desire for quick success or shallow approval. He was driven not by the hunger of ego, but by the clarity of purpose. And with that clarity, he became the man who held a fractured nation together. Or Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before bringing light to the world. If desire for recognition had been his master, he would have quit long before the 1000th attempt. But his clarity of vision was stronger than the cravings of impatience. That is why today, when night falls, we do not live in darkness. The Buddha's weapon is not about killing desire completely, it is about transforming it. Instead of chasing every glittering temptation, you sharpen desire into a spear aimed at truth, at clarity, at mastery. Imagine your life as a battlefield. Most people scatter their energy like arrows shot in every direction. Money here, status there, comfort over there, and they wonder why their power fades. But the Stoic and the sage, the inventor and the builder, all knew the secret. Focus. The spear of clarity pierces deeper than 1,000 distracted arrows. Even in modern times, look at Elon Musk. Love him or hate him, he doesn't live enslaved to comfort. He sleeps in factories, works through nights, risks everything, not for the next yacht or mansion, but because his clarity of purpose drives him. That is why he bends industries, reshapes technology, and pushes humanity toward Mars. The weapon of clarity slices through chaos, while the chains of desire strangle the ordinary. You too must ask yourself, what is steering your life right now? Is it the shallow desire for applause, for fleeting pleasure, for comparison against others who are just as lost? Or is it the unshakable clarity of a higher purpose, the kind that makes even suffering feel meaningful? Pain with clarity is growth. Pain with desire is torment. That's the difference between the warrior who stands tall and the wanderer who falls to pieces. Every empire that rose, every innovation that reshaped humanity, every leader who carried nations through fire, they all reached a point where desire burned away and clarity remained. That clarity became their North Star. And you must find yours. Imagine a warrior sharpening his blade under the dim glow of a fire. Sparks fly as steel grinds against stone. That warrior is you. The fire is your life, and the blade, your mind. The sharper it becomes, the less chaos can cut you. The Stoics said, "Control your mind, not the world." The Buddha whispered, "Control desire, and the world bows before you." Together, these truths form the most unbreakable shield. But why does desire enslave us? Because we mistake smoke for flame, shadow for substance. You chase wealth, only to crave more. You grasp at love, only to fear losing it. You pursue recognition, only to be haunted by doubt. The more you feed the hunger, the louder it screams. Desire is not satisfaction. It is thirst disguised as promise. Like drinking salt water, it offers relief, then deepens your thirst until you collapse in the desert of your own illusions. Clarity, however, is a different weapon. Clarity is the mountain lake, still deep, untainted. When you drink from it, you don't just quench thirst, you awaken strength. History's great builders carried this weapon. Edison failed 1,000 times, yet clarity told him, this is not failure, but refinement. Lincoln lost elections, endured ridicule, yet clarity whispered, the vision is larger than today's defeat. Musk risked everything, his companies on the edge of collapse, but clarity made him relentless. The future is not built by hesitation. Clarity sees beyond the fog of desire. It asks not, what do I want right now? But, what must I become so the world cannot shake me? This is why Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree. Not to indulge, not to escape, but to master. Demons of temptation, fear, and doubt circled him like wolves. He did not fight them with anger. He did not surrender to craving. He pierced them with clarity, so sharp it shattered illusions like glass. You too sit under your Bodhi tree. It might be the silence of your room, the fire of your failures, or the weight of your struggles. Demons circle you, whispering, you are not enough. You need more. You should fear tomorrow. But what if you stopped listening? What if, instead of reacting, you observed? The Stoics remind you, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Buddha reminds you, desire is endless, but freedom begins where desire ends. Together, they hand you the ultimate weapon, clarity over craving. Now hear this truth. Most people never wake up. They live like moths chasing flames, burning their wings in endless hunger. They scroll, they compare, they envy, they consume. They wait for validation. They beg for applause. They die never having tasted freedom. But you are not most people. If these words strike your heart, it's because a part of you is done with illusions. A part of you is ready to burn the false and forge the real. The real is simple. Your mind commands your world. Fear bows to courage. Chaos bows to discipline. Desire bows to clarity.